Hey friends, it's Terry with Lovey's Pups, bringing the love and culture of white German Shepherds here to North Texas, USA. Apologies go out to my mama. She says I talk too fast. Mama got so much to say, I gotta get it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something about a GSD that will drive you both to stitches and laughter and to drink in the madhouse. Yeah, nothing more stressful than potty training your dog. Today we're gonna do it in 9 days or less, no kidding. Now some guys out there will say they can do it in 2 or 3 days. I think they're pulling our leg. Nonetheless, if you can do it in 2 days, you post your video down below and I'll call you king of the day. But we can do it in 9 days or less. Now, first thing you want to do, read the highlights of B.F. Skinner, Operant Conditioning. Remember that old behavioralism stuff? It works completely with GSDs. Now, let's just start in with a whole bunch of things to do in 9 days or less. First of all, prepare your house. Get your family psyched up for this. Potty watch is number one when you get a puppy. The number one thing to do with the puppy is not to run out the Facebook page and say, what should I name my dog? Or, take pictures for granny and all that. The number one job you have is to potty train your dog as fast as possible. You can do it if you take a week vacation and use the weekends, you can easily do it. But nonetheless, I know of a way to do it in 9 days or less. I'm gonna talk to you about that today. Number one, if it is to be, it is up to me. Remember that 10 two-word sentences? If it is to be, it is up to me, you. It is absolutely up to you, but this has to be your first priority. All of your family have to be keyed into this. Otherwise, you just can't be in all places at all time. Your little puppy's gonna outsmart you and discourage you and disappoint you because it's gonna do messes all over the place. Okay, so let's get going. Number one, board off all the places of your house as possible. Limit your puppy to the smallest amount of area possible. Hopefully it's hard surfaces like tile floor and wood laminate flooring for obvious reasons. Remember, from a perspective of a puppy, carpeting, that tan carpet we all have in America in every apartment and house, I think, in the world, it looks just like grass most of the time, 6-9 months a year, depending on where you live. That old burnt off grass, it's exactly what your carpet looks like. So try to make it a hard floor surface. 3, every time your dog wakes up, it goes outside. Every single time it stops playing, it goes outside. Every time it drinks, every time it eats, it goes outside. It has to be conditioned, B.F. Skinner, it has to be conditioned that this waking, eating, playing function is met with potty break outside. 2, some of you guys like to use pee pads. I particularly don't care for that. I think it just builds a different kind of enablement, but nonetheless, I won't go there. We take ours outside every single time. 3rd, use the positive traits of a crate. Now, there's a whole bunch of discussions about crates. Crates are not prisons, they're not POW camps, they're not jail cells, they're not punishment centers for your pup. The crate represents all the good things that your puppy remembers from its mother. Remember, the puppy's first conception of home was that nice, safe, warm place that the mom created for these baby pups. Now, that mother did a ton of work keeping that area clean. And this is why your dog has built into it this idea they don't want to crap where they sleep. This is where it comes from. It comes from the mother. So in the crate has to be a small crate, big enough, of course, that there's no damage and all that. Of course, all right, let's avoid all the nonsense. The crate has to be large enough that the pet moves around. Nothing inside except a warm place to sleep, and it has to be clean. Personally, I don't put any food and water in there for several reasons, but nonetheless, it has to be small. Every time that puppy comes out of that crate, it goes outside, does its business. Now, your puppy is going to make some mistakes, it's going to do some accidents. You scoop it up immediately, you get it outside the house, and then you let it relieve itself outside. Now, real quick, some of you guys just stand outside in the mornings in your ugly house gowns, smoking your cigarette while your dog pees in some crappy little patch of grass. You can't do that. You got to reinforce, again, behavioralism. You got to reinforce the positive experience of going outside. Some of you just put your dog out. As soon as they do the business, you bring it back in the house, which just causes your dog to learn the lesson of holding on to it as long as possible, or even doing it in the house and not have to go outside at all. So again, you got to be careful about what you're rewarding. You don't want it to be punishment that you're taking it out every single time and you're only out there for 2 seconds till it relieves itself and in. Now, every time it goes outside, you praise it to death, right? The greatest treat is praise, A little bit of a treat sometimes is a good thing, but the reality is you're not going to treat it every single time it pees outside. So I personally don't like that dependency that it's expecting, a biscuit every time it does its business. Nonetheless, praise is the greatest treat. Now, in your house, we limit water intake. Now, some of you probably report me to the SPCA for this, but I limit water intake. Why? Because to a puppy, remember, the one thing it wanted more of when it was a puppy was its mother's milk. So puppies have a tendency to think that this bowl of water is its mother's milk. And so it'll just keep consuming and consuming water to death. Literally, it'll be pissing, pardon me, everywhere it takes a walk in your floor. It'll be leaking. You won't have bladder control. So I limit water intake for that first 9 days to the time that it drinks to eat. And again, I want eat, drink, outside. I want wake up, go outside, enjoyment. Okay? Then come back in and play peacefully. Now, first couple of weeks you have your puppy, it's going to need to go at least every 20 minutes. Now, what do you do in the middle of the night? Remember, it wants to keep its crate area clean. So what we did was we wake up in the middle of the night, intentionally take the dog out. Okay? Now, you'll go from like 3 times a night for that first 2 or 3, 4 days to then 2 times a night, then 1 time a night, and then you'll just be praising the Lord and Terry at Lovey's Pups when you finally wake up one morning and think, oh my God, and you race in there and she's still asleep in her beautiful crate that's nice and safe and dry and warm. So this is how you potty train your dog in 9 days or less. You potty proof your house. You get every single person in your family on the Potty Watch team. This is not just your job. You never let your dog walk around corners, into closets, into shaded areas of your house. You always keep them in plain view. You keep them going outside about every 20 minutes. You limit water intake. You keep that crate nice, clean, and dry. And you're full of B.F. Skinner operant conditioning positive praise. Thanks. If you have your own ideas, please post them down below. Thanks. Have a great day.